everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Tracy, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make this two-tone background, and we're going to pair that up with the delicate bouquet stamp from Technique Junkies. Don't forget, you can save 15% until the 8th, and you can use my code for everything else, TJ10 color. So I did make this on the original on an orange card base, but I'm going to show you something a little different in this video. So let's get started. First off, I'm just going to take a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm going to use a special brush that I have earmarked for just stenciling Versamark. So I cover that in the Versamark, and then I'm going to cover it in embossing powder. I'm going to heat emboss it until it's completely clear. I'm going to make sure to tap off any excess because we're going to be coloring that. We don't want any specks of color, so just kind of look it over, and then I'm going to hold it here with my tweezers, and I'm going to heat emboss it. All right, so now you can see it's all nice and shiny. What I'll do is I will actually set it aside and let it cool completely while we work on the second half. And this could easily be a 2-for card, by the way. So I'm going to be using the same stencil, and by the way, this is a stencil from a Colorful Life Designs. It's just these leaves that I really like. And I'm going to be using Catherine Pooler ink, and I'm going to fill this in with this green color. Now you could use any color you like for this two-tone effect. I just wanted to use the, since I just got them, the new Catherine Pooler inks from the Apothecary line. So I'm just filling this in completely. And once that's done, I'm ready to put my two pieces together. I want to make sure that's all good and filled in. And I'll move this off, and we'll pull it off, and we'll put it together here. So first I want to, I want to color this in. So I'm going to use the same wintergreen color, and I'm just going to fully color it in. And you'll see that the clear embossing powder resists the ink. So you get basically a monochromatic theme here for the background, until I tweak it a bit. So just wait and see. Pretty simple to color in, and you'll want to wipe down the excess there with a dry, clean paper towel. And there we've got our two pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a 4.25 by 4.25 by 5.5 piece of accent opaque 80-pound cardstock, just the cheap stuff, right? And I'm going to glue part of this on, and I'm not gluing it half and half. I want the one part to be a little taller than the other, and you'll see why in the end. I will be using my my collage medium here to glue this on. I want it to be good and strong, and I'm putting the glue on the paper I'm going to lay it on instead of on it. That way I don't have a bunch of excess glue that I have to cut off, or excess glue on the rest of the image that I can save for another project. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and wipe off the excess there, anything that might have leaked out. And this collage medium gives me a little bit of wiggle room to move that around. So next I'm going to glue on the top half. Same exact process. There we go. And then I'm going to let that dry, and once that's dry, I'm just going to take one of my 4 by 5.25 dies, and I'm going to die cut this right where I want it, which is basically, you know, around the card base that, or the cardstock that I glued them onto. So I can use the other side there for something else too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go direct to paper, and I'm going to make a strip. And the strip is just going to be an accent on the card to kind of bring everything together and to kind of hide that center line that we created, because the leaves obviously don't match up. You could try and match them, but it's a lot easier to do it this way. And it really adds a nice pop of color to your background. So I'm just going to trim that off to about 1 inch. It's sometimes difficult to get an inch measurement out of that thing, but you can do it. And so I'm just going to take a little bit of my regular glue, and I'm just going to glue this down to kind of cover that line, and then we'll get going on the next part. And once that's nice and stuck down, I'll trim off the excess. Next, we're going to be doing our stamping. So I've got the Delicate Bouquet stamp here, and I'm going to put it in my stamping platform. I'm going to grab a piece of Accent Opaque, just 80 pound. And I'm going to set it in my stamping platform. Make sure there's nothing in my way there. And it's real easy to stamp this one. I do like the red rubber quality of the Technique Junkie stamps. They're terrific. But I will be stamping this down with my archival ink because I'm going to be sort of watercoloring it. So oftentimes when I'm using the archival, and it's probably because I need to re-ink, you see how I rub ink on and tap just to make sure I get it nice and inky, because my ink pad, yeah, needs to be probably refilled a little bit. I'm just going to give this some pressure with my pressure tool. Make sure it's good and down. And, you know, I'm pretty happy with the results, so I'm not even going to stamp a second time. I'm just going to set my platform aside and we'll get to coloring. So I do like to put it on a silicone mat when I'm coloring, and I'm using this is just a water brush with no water in it. But I like this brush because it has a very, very fine tip, and it's nylon, so the tip doesn't actually, you know, fray. So I'm going to use the wintergreen, and I'm going to color in all of the leaves. And I won't make you watch me do all the coloring, but I will do little bits at a time. So I've got the leaves done. Next I'm going to go in, whoops, I missed a few leaves there. I'm going straight in with the color is why, because I wanted those to be a little bit more intense. So let me just zoom in so you can see what I'm doing, and you can see that it's just a little bit darker because I didn't water it down at all. I'm just tapping my brush onto the ink pad, because these are nice juicy ink pads, and coloring the leaves in here. All right, so let's get started on the flowers now that we've got the leaves done. And I'll be using, I'm cleaning my brush off first of all, and it's super easy to clean because it's nylon. I'm going to go in first with the apricot, however you like to say it. And I'm going to go in with a very watery one first and get these little tiny flowers, a very light color. But in using the color scheme here, the Apothecary, they're all meant to go together, and they do. They're just beautiful together. So we'll get these other small ones. And it's pretty quick and easy to color this in when you're going this way. And then I'm just going to take the more concentrated color and just put it down in the centers. And that will also dry back a little bit. And I want to go in, and I see that I want to get these little tiny flowers right here in the darker apricot color. There we go. Get this little one. And I know some of them are roses, and looks like one of them's a zinnia. I'm not sure the rest of them what they are. That kind of looks like, reminds me of dogwood. I don't know. I don't know my flowers. I know I like them. I know they're pretty, but I don't know who they are. They're flowers. So you can see how quick and easy that is to color in. Now, be honest with you, I do have this sped up a bit. So now I'm going to go in with the ginger. And I'm going to first do the centers of those little flowers. And I'm going to get this whole group with the ginger. I'll go ahead and do the zinnia with the ginger. Wipe that down. Then I'm going to go in with the terracotta and get the roses. And I will be fussy cutting this out. So, and it's pretty easy to cut around because I'm leaving a border. You obviously couldn't cut it without a border because the flowers are not connected to each other. Let's go ahead and deepen out the centers here. And I think I'm still using the ginger there. Now we're going in with the terracotta. And I did water it down a bit, and I'll get these roses with that. And it kind of looks a pinky color. You know, it reminds you of a clay pot. It's fairly easy to color through. Well, I said I wasn't going to make you watch me do all the coloring, but I did, didn't I? Sorry about that. But it's the crucial part here to this video, it and the two-tone background, or the, I guess, backwards background. But you can see how easy this thing is to color in with this little brush. So, and I'll just go in and touch up with the terracotta, add a little bit of shading, just a little bit, straight with no water, just kind of get a little bit of depth of color into those flowers. And it looks very liney, but it does dry back and blends very nicely. All right, let's get this cut out. All right, I've got it cut out, and I'm attaching foam tape to the entire thing. So it's covered in foam tape now. And then I'll just remove the foam tape, and I'm going to audition where I want it. And then I cut out this Hugs from my stash. I did direct to paper with the ginger color. There we go. Once I decide where I want things, I'll just peel back all this foam tape. And this is a very thin foam tape. It's great for getting in areas. I don't like anything to be vulnerable on my card where it could, you know, smash down and, you know, possibly crease the paper or something like that. So I tend to really douse it with the foam tape. So I'm just auditioning how I want it to lay, and I'm good with it right there. And then I've got the Hugs here, and I'll show you how I did the card base in a moment, because I seem to got myself backwards here and when I did the video, and it's too late because I'm already doing the voiceover with what voice I have left. All right, we'll get our Hugs down. Now let me go back and let me show you how I did this card base, because it's just a white card base. So what I did was I just masked off a portion of it. I put a piece of paper inside, basically, so I didn't get ink everywhere else. And I grabbed the ginger ink. Yep, I'm going with the apricot instead. And just dragged it around the edges here. And that's it. That's the card base. Pretty simple. There's putting on the background to the, or putting on the panel. Spit it out. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. I'll show you here how it ends up once I've finished everything. So I did add some sequins to the card, and here's our lovely reversed background. And we did use, again, Technique Junkies Delicate Bouquet. You can save 15% till May 8th, and you can save 10% using my discount code TJ10Color. Have a great day.